Chapter The Address by Marga Minko.
तो ये बात है उस जमाने की।
So, this story is about a daughter who goes in a search of her mother's belongings after the World War. When she finds them, the objects evokes the memories of her earlier life. They want to save themselves from the Nazis. That's why they left their place and moving to different places in hopes for being alive. So here I am Pranav Singh presenting you an explanation of chapter The Address. The author Marga Minko finds their objects, she leaves them all behind and resolves to move on. Why she decided to do this? Let's see what happened to her. So now in present, when she went to the address, she asks from the woman, "Do you still know me?" Then woman opened the door a chink, means she opened the door narrowly. बहुत थोड़ा सा दरवाजा खोला था. Then author came closer and stood on the step and then woman replied, "No, I don't know you." After that, author introduced herself that I am Mrs. H's daughter, who were the woman had trouble during the war. The woman had not opened the door and she doesn't give any sign of recognition to her. Then author felt that she had come to the wrong place. Then the lady opened the door. Author observed that the lady had weared his mother's green kitten cardigan. When she saw her looking at the cardigan, she hid herself again behind the door. Then she realized that she had come to the right place and she asked, "Well, you know my mother. Have you come back by?" Replied by woman, "I thought that one no had come back." Then she replied that, "Only me." Then she opened the door and a musty smell emerged. Woman says, "I regret I can't do anything for you. I have come here especially from the train to talk to you." Then woman replied, "This is not a convenient time for her." And then she closed the door causingly. यानी कि धीरे से दरवाजा बंद कर दिया. While standing on the step, then the curtain of front window have moved and asked to woman what she wants. Then the woman replied, "Nothing, it was nothing." And then for the confirmation, she saw the correct place, house 46, Darling. While going back to the station, she was thinking about her past when her mother told about the address. When she went to her home after school, she immediately found something changed. Then her mother told her about Mrs. Darling. She never heard about, but apparently she was an old acquaintance of her mother. She hadn't seen for years, but she had suddenly turned up and renewed their contact, and since then she had come regularly. Every time, whenever she lives here, she takes some things, and she is worried about her troubled lugging those large vases. Then woman convinced them that she would return all the things after the war would over. Now in present time, while going to a station, she saw many familiar things. That was her first time after the World War. She didn't want to upset herself because here the street and house are full of memories. Now in train, she thinks about her past when she saw first time Mrs. Darling in train. After a day, when she was coming down from a stair, she saw her mother was waiting for someone. Then her mother introduced her to woman. Woman nodded and picked up the suitcase and left the house. Marga asked her mother, "Does she live far away?" Then mother replied, in Marconi Street, number 46. Remember that. Now, in present time, after the liberation, she was not interested in to store the stuffs. She also afraid of it because afraid of being confronted with the things that had belonged to a connection that no longer existed, which were hidden away cupboard and boxes and waiting in vain until they were not put back in their place again, which had endured all. After her first visit to Mrs. Darling's house, she wants to go back and try for a second time. Now, a 15-year-old girl opened the door and I asked her,
जूस पिला दो मौसम्बी का जूस पिला दो मूड ऑफ है मेरा
After that, she opened the door and said that her mother going somewhere for work. But she said, no problem, I will wait for her. When she went in the house, she saw many things like an old-fashioned Hanukkah, the candle holder nearly placed by a mirror, Minko in mind. We never use it because of a heavy weight. Then girl asked her to come into living room and then she followed her. She stopped horrifying because she saw the familiar things which I was in room. I knew the atmosphere was not good because of ugly furnitures. A musty smell spread. She didn't know, but she is scared to look around. And then she sat down on chair and she saw the tablecloth. Then she followed the pattern of lines of cloths and she reminds a burn on cloth at edge, which that have never been repaired. Then the girl says, my mom will be back soon. I have already made a tea for you. Then the girl going to took tea. Will you have a cup of tea? And then Marga recognized a similar broad bag of the girl as Mrs. Darling's. She opened the box and took out some spoon. Marga, that's a nice box. Oh, you know about them. Girl took the tea to her on table. My mother say these all are antique. We have got more. And look around. She just look at the pewter plate. Because as a child, she always wants the apple from it. We always use these plates to eat, but I didn't find anything special. She found the burn marks on the cloth. She said to her, you have been living from a long duration due to which you only notice when something is missing. Because it have to be repaired or lent it. She connect herself from this line. I remember when my mother asked me to polish the silver spoon and she had never asked me before. So this is very strange for me because she didn't notice that the utensils used by them are made up of silvers. She begged, she never knew. Then the girl hesitated and moved to open the drawer. Then Marga says, doesn't need to open the drawer because my time to get the train have come. Girl, don't you want to wait for my mother? and she says that I have to go and left the house. But the girl opened the drawer and checked the spoon, and the sound of jiggling had come, and she left the house. Then she saw the address, which was correct, and thinks that what I have to do with the things. Even I doesn't have a space in my room, and the things lost their values in a strange environment because there is no space. Even a handful could really not be placed. That's why she resolved to forget the address, and it would be good.
Gracias, afición. Este es para vosotros.
एक तो लाइक और शेयर ठोक दीजिए महाकाल का से दबा के लाइक और शेयर ठोक दीजिए